All right, welcome to my LinkedIn course. Here is where I will basically take you through my cold outreach and my warm outreach notes, as well as the reasons why each of these types of notes work, and as well as I give you some helpful tips here at the end that you should always keep in mind as you're leveraging LinkedIn. Okay. So for my cold note, again, these are for contacts where you don't have a ton of existing relationships in the account. You don't have a ton of mutual connections. You have nobody who can make an introduction. So I'll just kind of walk through it. Hey, first name. Hope you've been well. Reaching out as I saw your post, bio comment, etc. regarding your interest in building GenAI applications to improve the insurance quoting process. Not sure if you're aware, but we've helped customers like Progressive reduce the time it takes to generate quotes by 50% from 10 days to 5. App teams accomplish this by leveraging our integrated vector database to automate a significant portion of the underwriting process. Any interest in a conversation? Okay, why this works? Again, here, that first sentence, I think this is really important on LinkedIn. Yeah, you notice the comment of the post they made. It shows you're not just a bot using some tool. This is going to become increasingly more important, I think, as AI gets more efficient. And you want to make sure that the person on the other end has a level of trust that they're talking to a human and they're not just one of 100 people that's getting a message. So do your best to stand out from that first sentence right away. I guess second sentence. And then here, I think this is really important. You basically share a relevant statistic of a customer and how you helped them. Okay, you're not just saying we helped customers like Progressive, but you helped Progressive do what? You help them reduce the time it takes to generate quotes. That's super valuable, and it comes with a strong point of view. And it will, if this is the right person you're talking to, it'll make their ears perk up. And then there's always that question in the back of their minds, but how did, for me, if I'm selling MongoDB, how did MongoDB actually make them do that? And here I tell them, we have an integrated vector database, which allowed them to automate a significant portion of the process. I think it's super valuable. If this is something I care about, I'm at least going to take a meeting with you. And then again, like with the call or email, instead of asking for a meeting right away, you just kind of ask for interest. Okay. Now, warm note, this is where you'll really start to see a lot of increase in uptick in booking meetings and getting conversations is when, just as with cold calls or emails, is when you already have a relationship with the account or, you know, have a relationship with someone that this person's connected to or related to within the account. Let's go through it. Hey, first name. Thanks for connecting. Saw you're connected with John Smith, so imagine you might be where we've worked closely with his group, helping them modernize off the mainframe as they migrated to the cloud. Have you had a chance to interact with MongoDB or account team before? Okay, pretty obvious, but the reason this works is you establish immediate trust. You call out someone that they know, you call out the way that you help their group, and then for the second portion, you basically, I think this is with warmer leads, you take a more conversational approach. So instead of saying, do you want to meet? You just say, have you had a chance to interact with MongoDB or our account team before? I think you're more likely to spark a conversation. Me personally, I don't like trying to necessarily initiate tons of like back and forth messages with colder outreach just because I try to see these guys as more high volume. And so I don't really want to like send a bunch of, hey, how's it going? Or like, have you had a chance to talk with us before and go back and forth for them just to be like, oh, I don't want to meet. I'd rather get straight to the point with colder outreach, come with a point of view. If it's not relevant, let them ignore it. Here, I'm trying to, you know, come in with more of a relationship, ask them some questions, kind of time into a conversation, and then get a meeting that way. Maybe have them answer a few questions back and forth, and then, get a meeting. So that's my approach. I think it's really effective, and hope you guys find that it works for you. Before we close this out, I did want to make a couple notes. Me personally, I know there's going to be mixed reviews. You can find out what works best for you, but my recommendation is unless you have a warmer note and you're you have a relevant context for why you're sending connection requests in the first place, right? Before you send the message, you need to connect with them. I just like doing a cold, I just hit connect without sending a message. For me, I find a much higher success rate with that. again, I called this out. This is true for, I'd say, warmer, but even for colder, like, again, LinkedIn is a social media platform. It's a little less, like, I would say, business professional than an email. And it's a lot more of like, think about like, you're not obviously not sending a DM like you would on Instagram, but this is a lot more of like a chatting type platform. And so you can be a little bit more lighthearted with it. And then again, I know in my email video, I said like, I personally think it's important to not start like referencing all these relevant things like congrats on your or like on email, just like congrats to your promotion or hey, I saw you're a Cubs fan. Like that just comes across as stalkerish, but on LinkedIn they have all that information on the platform in front of them. So it's a lot easier to be like, hey, saw you were at the Cubs game last week. I watched it. I think that comes across as a lot less forced on LinkedIn than it would in email, so you can incorporate a lot more of the, those little details that you notice about them in LinkedIn, just to your best to make the personal touch relevant to what you're selling. Again, um, Cubs game type stuff is fine, but for me, like if you see here, it's like I mentioned already, you're calling out a specific post, bio, or comment you saw, and so they posted it on their LinkedIn, so it's acceptable for you to call it out. Those are my thoughts. Hope this is helpful, and hope to see you in the next video.
Do you want to become an account executive faster? Check out my Skool community. You'll get weekly live trainings, Q&A sessions, downloadable resources, accountability to stay on track, and access to a network of SDRs, account executives, and myself for personalized guidance. Go ahead and click the link in the description below to join now and accelerate your career.